Hey, everybody, this is Dr. Kevin McGovern. It's time for another game show. If you think this is The Price is Right, Wheel of Fortune, the dating game, or some other game show, you're wrong. It is the game show, which is an acronym for my movement exam. And I have a very special guest, a fellow area PT. We don't all hate each other, especially in the cash PT realm. Dr. Maxwell Shippen, who has, I'll let him tell you, but he is a cash physical therapist who's mobile. It doesn't mean his mobility is that good. That means he goes from place to place via some sort of non Uber related vehicle to your home to do physical therapy. So without further ado, Dr. Max, good afternoon. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
I appreciate that. So why don't you tell my audience, your audience, a little bit about who you are, where you are, what you do, and give us a little. You got a couple things going on. You're a very big entrepreneur, so let's hear about all of it.
Sure. Yeah, so I started my cash-based mobile practice in November of 21. We had my young baby son, and I decided I wanted more mobility and freedom to decide my own schedule. So made my own business and have been taken off ever since. As a physical therapist, I also love the ability to think outside the box and, being able to drive around and meet people where they are has been really a big game changer for my practice as well.
Nice. So, if you've probably listened to me, you've probably heard I think the state of healthcare is, certainly the game of insurance, where, if insurance paid $1,000 each year for preventative healthcare, it would probably save gazillions, even if there's not a gazillion number. But they don't do that. They only pay when something is wrong, and when something is wrong, they only pay a partial of that to get you actually fixed. So tell us how, like, the cash piece, tell us why you decide not to go into business and not take insurance right off the bat.
Yeah. Same reason as you is that I wanted to make the decisions that were best for my patients and not best for the insurance or reimbursement. And so for me, that meant that I want to work for my patients and not the insurance company. So by being able to take the cash rate and take cash pay, it really allows me to ignore if insurance, pays less for, this sort of modality or for this sort of treatment, and be able to just give them what I think is best for them at that moment. Whether or not that's just education, whether or not that's, doing an ergonomic assessment of their desk, fixing around and moving around their desk and stuff. But it really becomes more of a personalized care at that point and not about like a cookie cutter, what's going to get me the most as a business owner.
Nice. Now, how has that been received by, let's say, past people you've worked with, your colleagues? What have they said about you going and breaking the norm of going to be a cash based therapist?
They said good luck. A lot of them didn't think that it would work out for me. They said it's a very difficult industry to break into because you're going against something that people have, paid into the system to be able to receive these benefits. And now you're saying, like, okay, well, pay me in cash first and you'll get better treatment. And they always say, well, PT hasn't worked for me in the past. PT didn't do this in the past. And so a lot of it is trying to break the norms and saying that this is a lot more personalized care. It's a lot more one to one. You have my personal cell phone. I'm available for call anytime you need. Like, it's a lot more patient centered care, which you don't always receive at typical insurance based companies.
So I'm an old timer, I guess, a dinosaur. I've been doing this for 30 years, but the problem still is the same. When I got out of school, there were these huge conglomerates. One was a company called Health South, which owned pretty much everything, and then they got in trouble cooking their books and eventually went out of business. And then the mom and pop like me kind of started to expand, and then now the big conglomerates have come back, with um, backing from hedge funds, um, to buy up other physical therapy clinics. So I know on the best day, the absolute best day, that a patient visit 1,000% reimbursed on average in Massachusetts, on average, is less than $100.
Yeah.
It just is. But the salaries have gone up. How are people doing it? You're the last person who's worked in outpatient between the two of us. What's going on in the industry? I know that in order to make money, you got to see a lot of people, and
Yep.
that totes a line. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, absolutely. And so for, you know, that sort of thing at my last clinic, I love my last clinic. During COVID, we went to hour-long sessions and stuff like that. And so it was really good patient care and everything else. And then we went to half hour or 45 minute, and then we went back down to our typical half hour, which is what we were doing before the pandemic. And not that the quality of care was bad, but it was always that you were kind of jumbling, a couple of patients at a time. And then, it was difficult to be like really, the only person there doing the care. We'd have to have, somebody supervising or anything else like that, making sure that they were doing their exercises correctly, whether or not that was an assistant or, an aide, or depending on who was available to kind of help with the patient caseload. But, the care that I provide now, it doesn't matter because it's just one to one. Being mobile, I keep my overhead extremely low. So, I charge what I think is a fair price. But even if I had to accept insurance, I don't think that the reimbursement rate would have been too much of an issue being mobile.
Right, right. So you touched on something. Now more almost we didn't use the word, but autonomy.
Yeah.
And this was when I first opened Perfect Motion. It was May of 19. I was doing a little bit of home care, and I had a woman who had a bilateral knee replacement. And I'm like, listen, when she was local, I'm like, well, when I'm done with you, you should come and see me. I'm cash, but no one is going to take your bilateral knee replacement. She's like, what do you mean? I said, no one's going to do it. They are going to take your left knee, and then when your left knee is done, then they're going to treat your right knee. She's like, well, that's wrong. I said, oh, I know it's wrong. I said, but we'll play a little bet. I will call around for you. And if they don't, I said, if they don't, this is a woman who was well off with plenty of money. I said, if they don't take you, you've got to come to me. She's like, okay, deal. I said, either way, afterwards, you can come to me for a return to sport or whatever. And I called around, including the local hospital, and that was the answer,
Yep.
which is shocking to people. So that's, talk about that. Like when you go to a physical, this is why people will say, I went to physical therapy and I didn't get better, because it's not just your shoulder, it's your neck, it's your lower back, it's your hip. But sometimes as therapists, our hands are tied. We can't do all that. One, it would be a documentation nightmare, which we don't
Yeah.
even have time to do. And two, it would be an insurance nightmare. So why don't you explain that part of it for us, so everyone, the nightmare and then how it's different now?
Yeah. So that again is absolutely the nightmare. When you get a script, or if you have a person that comes in for one diagnosis, that's all the insurance cares about. They want you to treat just that. So, like tennis elbow. If a person's coming in for tennis elbow, you have to do the cookie cutter treatment, to get the best reimbursement rates, right? And then if it's actually coming from the neck, you would have to spend like a good hour extra of your time being able to justify, say, which nerve path is taking, root, what vertebrae you think is wrong, and all this other stuff in order to, justify the treatment of the neck as well. It is possible, but it is definitely a bigger pain in the butt. And when you're seeing people every half hour or so, it's difficult to be able to document as well in that time period. If you're seeing 10 to 16 people a day, you have to document for each one, and it takes like 10 to 15 minutes to document a good note that you are sure is going to get reimbursed. So,
Oh, I don't, I don't miss those days at all. So talk to me about, the mobile practice is significantly different than home care per se.
yeah.
Obviously, when someone's getting home care, They are homebound, meaning they can't get up and go to outpatient. But mobile PT is a choice. So why don't you talk about why you decided to mobile and tell me what all went into that and what like maybe a typical day is, or what you're treating out there.
Yeah, so a lot of times people have issues that, what is causing their headaches, what is causing their carpal tunnel, what is causing their lower back pain. And being able to go into the house or the places that they spend the most amount of time, I'm able to assess their desks, I'm able to assess their beds, see how they're lying down in bed, see how they're, sitting at their desk, adjust it so that it's all properly fit. And so you're really helping solve the source of the problem rather than the symptoms of the problem. Whether or not it's bad posture for 8 hours a day sitting at your desk, we can fix that. Here's the tools that you need. Supply this list to your your boss and see if your company can pay for it because you're working from home. So I've had patients who get reimbursed for it. But a typical day, I wake up, I drop my son off at daycare, and then I start seeing patients at like 8:39, and then I'll see a patient. On my way to the next patient, I'll use my voice to text and document while I'm driving, and just talking to my phone, and then get to the next patient, see them. But I also listen to podcasts and everything else if I finish my time, finish all the documentation on time. And it's a lot more freedom to choose where I want to go, patients that I want to see. If there's a patient that I think needs more modalities or more things than I can fit in my car, I send them out and I refer them to another clinic because I can't provide them the care that I think they deserve. So
Nice.
I'm not greedy in the sense that I'm like, oh, give me all the patients. There's limitations to being mobile, and I recognize that. And absolutely, I'll refer them to other PTs that can serve them better. Because it's all about the patient. It always needs to be, and it always should be.
So how have you marketed your services to the community? What have you done?
Yeah, a lot of it's been word of mouth. BNI has been really helpful. BNI is Business Networking International, I think. And you meet with other business owners, other entrepreneurs, and you tell them about your business, and then they refer people to you whenever they hear about people who have a problem that relates to physical therapy. So I know a roofer. If you need a roofer, I would refer to you, the guy in my group. Same thing like that. But a lot of it's been word of mouth. I've had a lot of past patients who have sought me out, who have, really loved my style of physical therapy, my techniques, and everything else. And then they've agreed to, have me come to their house and everything else. So it's been a lot of word of mouth and just, again, meeting other PTs. I don't really go to doctors' offices that often because they have the PTs they're going to refer to, so I find it kind of pointless. Every time I've gone in and I've brought like chocolate and stuff and been like,
Yeah,
hi,
they're
I'm
like, yeah,
Max.
we'll take that and see you later.
Bye.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. So in 2020, um, we had a little pause.
Yep.
Um, Obviously, we're finding out much different things now than the huge scare that it was in 2020. But a lot of people got sick, a lot of people died. We had this COVID thing come across, and I was closed for a little while. Your last clinic was closed for a while, but so the one thing that I did during COVID was I decided it would be a great idea for the world to not only hear me but see my face. So I actually started another podcast called the Prove It Live podcast with a baseball buddy of mine to handle my baseball stuff, and then this morphed into that. But you did something else uh, during the pandemic, and I gotta tell you, I hate it just because the word documentation. I start to curl up and hives and hair starts falling out. But you created what's called an EMR, which is an electronic medical record. So bravo to you, and tell us why and how and what you did.
Yeah. So basically, when I was starting my practice, I needed a way to document my system or document my patients. And you can do on paper and pen. It's still allowed. It's still acceptable. But it's a lot faster to be able to talk into your phone. It's a lot faster to be able to do it electronically, whether or not it was intake and it automatically carried forward all the patient information. So I looked around and I saw the different prices between $30 to $300 a month per user, in that then they can also take 5% if you're billing through them for your insurance or anything else. So that's a lot of money going out the door. And when I looked at what I needed and realized it was just data recall, I realized that Google Workspace and Google Sheets could do everything that I needed, and Google Forms could be the intake form as well. And so I taught myself some computer programming while my business was still starting and slow, and COVID kicked my kid out of daycare, so we had to keep him home for a couple of months. And while teaching myself, I made the documentation system that I would use and that I would want. And I asked for feedback from other people, and they were like, "This is amazing. Can I buy this from you?" So that's when I started my second business, Unsubscribed Healthcare, and it's selling the templates that I've created for a one-time fee rather than a monthly fee.
Fantastic. So what is the best feature of your platform, of this platform? What do you think is the thing that you like the best?
I incorporated a lot of things to increase documentation time. So it can automatically write the first paragraph for you for your subjective intake after the intake is completed. You have a lot of drop down menus so that you can continuously just use your drop downs. It has its own home exercise program. There's notifications that I've included to send email
Nice.
notifications. Like, there's so many features. There's not really one feature besides being able to take a credit card payment. That's really the one feature that I'm missing right now. I'm still learning how to do something like that. But every other feature that you ask for in one of these main EMRs, it does. Patient scheduling, self scheduling, like everything. Like,
All that it does it.
all it does everything.
How did you learn? How did you learn how to do this?
So a lot of it's included in Google Workspace. So like
Is it really?
the self scheduling, I didn't have to do at all. Google has that already set up for healthcare clinicians. I think they expedited it during COVID because people are using it for telehealth and stuff.
Sure.
But other than that, the data recall and stuff is just really learning how to make Excel formulas or Google Sheet formulas to recall the data when it's asked for. And then,
Really?
I've also created PDFs and some other buttons and stuff to make it really just automated and useful. But a lot of it was pretty simple. Like, that's part of the reason why it only took me about 3 or 4 months of like,
Wow.
heavy work on this to get it up
Sure.
and running.
All right. So how does one buy it? Where does one go to get it? Test it? Do you do demos? What do you got?
Yeah. So I do demos for it. You can find it on YouTube. That's how I market it. Is I teach people how to do it themselves for free on YouTube. It took me
Oh,
about two
great.
thousand hours. So if you want to do it yourself, absolutely. Here's how you do it. Have fun.
Oh,
Um,
you mean you teach people how to make what you made?
yeah, yep.
Oh,
I teach
wow.
them how to
Okay.
make what I made for free. Here I haven't done the programming yet because I want to make sure that it's solid and people don't delete their whole drive because I did that
Sure.
once by accident and it wasn't
Okay.
fun.
That's not fun. No.
Um, And so, I want to make sure that I teach people in a way that's not going to ruin any of their information or what they already have. But yeah, no, I teach people for free. I have a Facebook group. It's all on unsubscribe.healthcare is the website. You can buy it there. Again, it's a one-time purchase fee. If you have a demo with me, I usually give you a discount coupon just for talking with me and running
Right.
through the demo. If you don't like it, I can give you a refund. Just
Now, what
it's really
about um, updates? Is
yeah.
it do you do updates to it, and how does that all work?
Yeah, so what you have right now will work for you. And when I build, so this is version 1.0. It's on version 1.8. And once it gets to like 2.0 and I start building the second version, you'll have to buy it, but it will be a discounted rate for you to buy it again.
So, are you making a second? You said you're at 1.8. What's the plan for this? What are you looking to do?
So this one, the version I have right now, I'm expanding it to speech language pathologists. I'm expanding it to behavioral health. I want
Oh,
to
wow.
expand it to occupational therapy. So that way, everybody has a platform on this 1.8 version. And before I go to 2.0, I want to make sure everything's solid and that everybody's satisfied with this product so far.
That is awesome. Did you ever think you'd
Yeah.
be a computer programmer and designer when you went to PT school?
No, I didn't at all. And it was funny too, because 3 months after I started the software business, I was offered to be bought out, and have it be absorbed into another company. And they wanted
No
me,
way, really?
yeah,
And you
they
told
wanted me
them,
to.
and you told them no?
No, because I had just started working for myself and I wasn't
Yeah,
ready to start
yeah.
working with
Good
other
for
people or
you.
for other people. I really like them. They're great guys and I like their vision and stuff, but I want to be on my own for right now, and if I
Yeah.
need help in the future, absolutely I can reach out to those guys. I can reach out to other people, but I love the autonomy. I love being able to be like, I'm making this decision to make this change and not have to ask anybody.
Now, what patient-friendly features does it have that would benefit the consumer?
Yeah, so I'm actually that's a third business I'm working on right now is a patient portal because Google doesn't come with a patient portal, and they make it difficult because it becomes no longer HIPAA compliant if you share your documents with them on
Right,
your
right,
Google
right. Yeah,
Drive.
yeah.
And so my friend and I are working on building a new patient portal, and it will be based off of how much you use for storage rather than per month. You know, because when I was looking,
Okay.
I had to buy licensees for like 10 people, and it was ending up being like $200 a month when I wanted to do a patient portal, and that just wasn't worth it to me. So me and my buddy are doing this one so that we can, offer this other service as a patient portal to these people. But intake forms are really easy, you know. So that's about the all the
That's fantastic. So, how do other clinicians get a hold of this? What do they do? What's the website again?
Yeah, it's unsubscribed.healthcare. And I'm probably going to in the future change it to unsubscribedtech.com. I bought that domain already. I just haven't changed it yet. But I love the idea of being unsubscribed, actually owning something, right? When you buy it for a one time fee, you now own that licensing. You can,
Right. You own it. That's it.
yeah, you can have 5 million employees and
I
then
love it.
use it for every single one. So
And now, how do people who want you to come over for dinner and some PT? How do they get a hold of you? What's that? What's your business call for your mobile site?
yeah, I go by Datman. So my company is Direct Access Therapy, and so you
That
can
man.
find me at directaccesstherapy.com. Yeah,
Nice. It's kind of like Kramer and Ass Man. Coming Dat
a
Man. I like it. I like
little
it.
bit different, but
I
yeah.
like it. Yeah, I like it. I like it. So, what kind of what are you treating in the home? What are you doing? Do you have a specialty? Do you have a niche? What are you looking for?
A lot of people who have failed elsewhere, those are the people I like to see the most. I find that you don't get the time that you need. People miss things when you go to an in clinic. So if you've gone to PT and you've didn't get better, come to me and I'll get you better. I love neck pain, back pain, vertigo. I worked as a vertigo person at Anna Jake's Hospital for a number of years, so I have a wide scope of practice, wide
Sweet.
breadth of knowledge.
All right. Well, there you got it, folks. So, from the clinical side, if you want to talk about documentation, or you want Max to show up at your house, you have all his information. So, Max, thank you very much for coming on. I appreciate that, and we'll be seeing each other very soon.
Excellent. Sounds good.
All right, everybody. That's it. We'll see you in the next show. Keep it real. Later.